Hello, everyone, and welcome to the panel discussion titled Assisted Digital Finance, Bridging Gaps or Creating Risks. My name is Niyati Agrawal, and I'm a Research and Data Analytics Associate at Dwara Research. Dwara Research is a public policy think tank working towards financial inclusion and social protection. We are relentless advocates for low-income households and their financial well-being. We envision a world where low-income household and enterprise has complete access to suitable financial services and social security, and can also use these services securely and confidently. Joining with me today on the panel are Samir Nagpal and Priyanka Vase. Samir is the Chief Business Officer at Spice Money. With an illustrious career spanning over 2 decades, Samir is a respected figure with a remarkable track record of accomplishments across various industries. Prior to his role at Spice Money, Samir has held influential positions with renowned organizations such as Airtel Payments Bank, Lending Card, Bharti Airtel, Idea, and Reliance Communications. He also has a profound understanding of untapped markets, which helps him conceive innovative products tailored to address the unmet demands of rural segments. Welcome, Samir. I
Thank
would
you.
also like to welcome Priyanka. Priyanka is the Assistant Vice President, Program Design, and is also leading the research vertical at Hakdarshak Empowerment Solutions, a prominent social enterprise dedicated to simplifying access to welfare schemes. Her career journey reflects a deep commitment to addressing real-world issues in scheme delivery, understanding the welfare needs of citizens, and improving grievance redress mechanisms. Her tenure with the government of Maharashtra further enriched her understanding of the challenges faced by citizens and the functioning of welfare programs, as she collaborated closely with district administration to monitor government flagship schemes and develop strategies to ensure zero pendency in grievance redressal. Welcome, Priyanka, and thank you both for joining us in this panel today. Right. So today we will be discussing the topic of evolving customer protection risks in assisted modes of delivery of digital financial services. But before we begin the session, I would actually like to add why this topic is of importance to us and what we hope to achieve out of this panel discussion. As you all know, digital financial inclusion is revolutionizing financial accessibility and usage, yet vulnerable communities often rely on physical touchpoints to access financial services. Now, this is where the assisted delivery modes, like the Aadhar-enabled Payment System in India, serve as vital bridges by bringing these critical services within reach to otherwise excluded populations. However, despite their crucial role in furthering financial inclusion, these assisted modes face a unique set of challenges. These challenges then give rise to multiple customer protection issues, such as information asymmetry, data privacy concerns, unsuitability of existing financial products, and incremental frauds. Malpractices and misconduct by certain players also adversely affect the objective of meaningful financial inclusion and erodes customers' trust. Now, with this panel, we would like to understand the specific nature of these risks that have been manifested within the assisted delivery modes of financial services and their impact on low-income households and their financial well-being. Also, with this panel, we would like to deliberate on the measures that the financial service providers and other key stakeholders can take to shield customers from any harm and protect their interests. Finally, we'll discuss how we can create a robust grievance redress mechanism that helps build customer trust. With this, I would like to begin the session. And so before, I start asking questions, Samir, I want to, ask you if you could just quickly give a brief introduction to what your organization does and how it serves the last mile customer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Niyati, having us on this panel. It really gives us an opportunity to talk about the work that we're doing in the semi-urban and rural market, the emerging India as we speak. It also helps us to really visualize everyone the challenges which a rural consumer faces and how is that we're trying to solve these problems. So we at Spice Money, what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve the problem of access for these consumers, the last mile access. And how we really enable this is we enable this through the nanopreneurs that we work with. We call them as adhikaris. So as we speak today, Niyati, we work with close to 1.3 million adhikaris. And these are adhikaris supported by a brick and mortar shop, which really ensure a last mile connectivity for a rural consumer. So what it really means is a rural consumer can walk into this adhikari and really get access to banking and financial services. I think, and I'm sure a lot of this has also got enabled by a few events that have happened in the past in the Indian content. The first is the advent of the network in the rural markets from 2G to 3G to 4G. I think this has really enabled the last mile services being enabled on a platform. The second is the way the whole device ecosystem has evolved. Your the smartphone accessibility and adoption has become so easy. And third is the platform being built by players like us, which is really helping all of this come together. Last but not the least, and very important, is the public digital infrastructure that's been built by the Indian government, and which has really made access to these services very simple and seamless. So our objective is very simple, Niyati. How do we really enable and empower these adhikaris, these nanopreneurs, so that they can then start to provide banking and financial services to the consumers?
Right. Thank you, Samir. I think that's a great initiative. Okay, then over to you, Priyanka. I want to ask like a very similar question to you. So could you like also give a brief introduction about your organization and how it serves the last mile customer?
Sure. Thanks, Niyati, for having us in the panel again. Um, what Hak Darshak is trying to do, we are a 7-year-old organization, and we started with an idea that there is a evident gap in the schemes awareness and access to schemes. We have digitalized the scheme database. We have put it in a Android-based app, and what we are doing is we are actually facilitating the scheme's information through a assisted mode, similar like how Spice Money has adhikaris. We have our own cadre of Hak on the field who use this mobile app, go to citizens, talk about the schemes they are eligible for, and help them apply for these schemes end to end, right from filling out the application form, submitting it to the department, and then following up till the benefit is received. Okay, so in a way, till day we have serviced around 4 million citizens so far with various government welfare schemes. Talking about last mile delivery, I mean that is our bread and butter. That is what we do day in day out. But a large chunk of it is also about direct benefit transfer and usage of DPGs, as Samir has pointed out. So I look forward to sharing some insights on that discussion.
Right. Thank you so much, Priyanka. Okay, then with that, I think, Samir, I have a question for you. And that will be, like if you could shed some light on the kind of problems that your BCs or adhikaris, as you call them, typically face in delivering these financial services to low-income households, specifically, like while extending banking and credit-related services. So, yeah.
So let me start by talking about what the digital public infrastructure has enabled.
Right.
Let me not start by calling out the challenges. I think the DPI that's got created in the country has become a boon for this country. The Jam Trinity has really enabled 50 crore Jandhan accounts coming in the last 7 to 8 years. And the sheer representation of semi-urban and rural in this 50 crore number, which is close to 70%, is a true representation that Bharat is becoming bankable, right? So let me start with that. Now let's talk about some of the challenges when these nanopreneurs or the last mile delivery agents want to extend these services, the banking and credit services to the consumers. I think on the banking side, it's the absence of the eKYC journeys being available, right? So while DPI or the Aadhaar stack has really democratized how Bharat has started to withdraw cash walking in to a BC agent. We now really need to think of a journey wherein how this Aadhaar stack can be used to offer banking services, right from the point of opening an account for the consumer to the point that the consumer is even serviced at the same BC agent. Now think of a journey that I am a rural consumer. I walk into an adhikari and say that I want to open an account. Now the account opening journey is maybe eKYC based. But tomorrow, when I need to really get access to banking services, I still have to walk into one of the bank branches, which is maybe 15-20 kilometers away. So my recommendation through this panel is that how the banks and the regulator and NPCI can come together and start to use this DPI to not only source bank accounts, but also to service these bank accounts. I think that will drive a lot of engagement between these adhikaris and the customers. So my whole point is that if we can use and think of a eKYC journey to open account, why can we not think of really servicing these customers using the same Aadhaar stack? So that is my first point on the banking services. Now, the second point on extending credit services. Let's visualize our employee working in a bank, right? What is the power this employee holds? The first power that this employee holds is being able to authenticate the customer standing on the other side of the counter. If we can really extend that power to the adhikari or to the retailer, that this customer can be authenticated, it really opens door to a lot of banking and financial services. Now let's extend this. Now a lot of these lenders today, they underwrite basis the account statement of these consumers. A lot of drop-offs happen when these consumers are not able to really furnish their bank account statements. So with the public infrastructure that's getting created and the work is being done, so the whole account aggregator thought process and the whole DPI stack, if this can come together, the customer gets authenticated through DPI, and the account aggregator plays a very, very important role in terms of helping the customer submit those relevant documents. I think banking and credit, this will become far, far more accessible to the last mile consumer. Similarly, we can think of other products. So think of selling an insurance policy to the consumer. Again, this DPI can be used for really authenticating the customer and selling a insurance policy. And the same DPI tomorrow should be used for one, servicing the customer or filing a claim for the customer. So for example, if the consumer wants to really renew his policy, the journey is very simple. The digital public infrastructure is used, the customer gets authenticated, and the renewal premium is paid. Similarly, if a customer wants to file a service claim, the same stack can be used. So let's not talk about challenge. I think there are more than enough digital infrastructures which are available in the country. It's just about someone leading the pack and bringing these infrastructure together.
Right, Samir. I think that's a very good point that you've raised. Specifically, that I think even within this entire stream of like the thoughts that you have presented, you've also kind of mentioned that the challenge that is there, which is furnishing the relevant information from point of view of the customer. And if like that itself is a challenge, specifically given that we are talking about last mile customers, if that can be furnished easily, and like the role of account aggregators and DPI could definitely sort of help there. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And then with this, Priyanka, I also want to ask you, like, given that you've been working a lot on social protection schemes, could you talk about some of the problems that you see your customers face while, like accessing or using these schemes through digital mediums? And can you also talk about, like, let's say certain customer protection issues that arise due to misconduct by service delivery agents or technical issues at the back end or lack of information from the part of the customers or something of that sort? Yeah.
Sure, I will keep this contextual to some of the used cases that we have seen. Maybe it will sound very niche, but it is important to set the context right. So we are working on Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana, which is a cash transfer scheme, a flagship scheme of central government, which is making use of land records. Okay, it is using land records maintained by each state to validate farmers' data. Okay, so what we are seeing is every state, I think in last 4-5 years, have done a mission mode digitalization of land records. However, this PM Kisan platform is not talking to state governments, land record platform, and the onus of proving that I own this land again comes on a beneficiary. Okay, so they have to submit supporting documents. They have to. There are rejections happening because land records are not eKYC, are not validated. eKYC is not that. So that is one issue that I want to highlight, that even when we have established digital infrastructures, I think still we need to foolproof them end to end. We need them talk to each other, right? We need to marry them. So that is one thing. PM Kisan is one example, but we have seen many such cases where caste certificates are digitalized. Still, one has to provide that as an additional document for applying for a scheme. So that is one issue. Second is as you are asking about some challenges when we are working with banking correspondents or FSPs. See, I would first talk about the goods, because we have seen what a tremendous job these guys have done when various financial assistances were announced at the time of COVID. Okay, people were aware about that additional tranche of 500,000 rupees that would be coming in their way, and second, they got these tranches at their doorstep. Right, nothing like it in a country like this. What better can happen, right? But we have also seen cases where BCs are taking undue advantages of lack of awareness from the customer side, using their thumbprints, biometrics 2 times to withdraw money, but giving money at only one instance to the citizen, and citizen realizing, say 6 months down the line, that okay, my account is debited 2 times, right? So we have seen such cases. We have also seen that many of these agents keep manual records of these transactions, like in a physical register copy, they write name of the beneficiary, date of birth, Aadhaar number, bank account number, scheme that they have facilitated, and they are not very protective about these registers. Okay, you can walk in and just have a look at this. So I see a very major violation of personal identity there. So that is one thing which is still we have digitalized everything, but I think there are still some interventions which are needed on training them on record keeping, or training them on protecting PIs of citizens. So these are 2-3 things which are coming to my mind right now. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Priyanka. I think, again, you have pointed out a very important challenge that even we have seen in the past. So before, Samir, I move to you for your next question, would you like to take like 2 minutes to, respond to the insights that Priyanka has raised? And also, like, how do you, like, have you seen certain similar challenges happening on the ground? And how does your network sort of try to avoid something like this, better training and like digitizing transcripts or even transaction receipts, etc.
No, so yeah, I would definitely want to add my view here. Niyati, I think this whole starts from the point you start to source someone who's getting into your network. I think the first filter has to get created there, so that you are getting you're getting someone in the network who really understands the sensitivity around that, right? And therefore, the process that we follow here at Spice Money is very, very stringent. Right from the point of the adhikari initiating a journey of getting into the system, to the next step of uploading the complete KYC documents, uh, moving to the next step of ensuring that there is a brick and mortar shop, and then one of our channel partner or one of our sales team member physically meeting the adhikari and doing a thorough due diligence. I think the first point is around who is getting into the network and what kind of filters you've created to really ensure that rogue elements do not get inside the network. But let me also say that the kind of transactions that the AePS business or the cash out business gets to see in the on the platform, there is very minuscule number of retailers who are maybe bringing a bad name to the kind of service that's being extended to the last mile consumer. I'll just give one data point through this platform to a wider audience. So look, the fintech industry today serves 10 crore customers every month, right? And if you have to do just one simple calculation of saving 10 kilometers of travel distance for these consumers, this means that you are saving as much distance in which you would have traveled to moon 2500 times. So that's the kind of work that's being done by this channel. So it is being tremendously scaled in the last few years, and it's really solved the problem of access and adoption for rural consumers. I think what we need to be cautious of is in terms of not getting the rogue adhikari and doing a thorough due diligence while the adhikari is getting into the system. And then there has to be a continuous training and evolution journey wherein you need to keep on educating your retailer adhikari around do's and don'ts. Look, a lot of this also happens because of there is not enough knowledge and understanding on the other side. So for example, as Priyanka said, that these adhikaris are maybe maintaining registers, right? Maybe that's a rudimentary practice which has been followed in the past, which needs to be curtailed, and someone needs to really educate the adhikari that this is not something correct that you're doing. So I think it's a lot about who are you getting into the system and how are you really handholding and training that adhikari, so that this adhikari or retailer is really compliant around the do's and don'ts.
Right. I think I completely agree with that, Sameer. I think another point I would like to add here is apart from due diligence and training, even accountability itself, I think makes a lot of. If the agent knows
Just 1 minute.
that, sure.
Sure, sorry.
Right. No, I was just adding that, apart from, I think, due diligence and training, even accountability, like even accountability sort of matters a lot when it comes to these agents. When they know that there is somebody who's also, you know, looking after looking after what the agent is doing versus what is even happening, then at that time as well, the accountability factor kicks in, and that sort of also helps. So with
Yeah,
that, I think.
couldn't agree more.
Right.
Agree more.
Uh, Yeah, with that, I think since we don't have a lot of time, I just want like a quick comment on, like since it's a follow-up question from the previous question itself, that in our past research, we basically found like quite a lot of BC agents also becoming double agents for, let's say, multiple multiple FSPs. And also there are times when, like multiple CSE agents kind of take up BC licenses and start providing banking services and credit facilities. So in terms of that, we have seen that, like this sort of gives rise to multiple customer protection issues, specifically in terms of, such as overcharging, rent seeking, or even issues related to data protection concerns, even as Priyanka mentioned. So, like, what do you think about this? And, like, how do you think, or who do you think the onus of reprimanding such a customer, such a BC, sort of lie on in this scenario where like a BC is basically like a multiple agent for different FSPs?
Well, I think, first of all, my understanding says that a lot of this is done to ensure continuity. When they get associated with multiple FSPs, a lot of this is done so that their shop continues to run. And one of the things that come to my mind is, and the way the telecom industry has evolved, right? If you reflect, these companies which really publish the network intelligence scores on the likes of Ookla, right? They really tell you that what is the kind of network performance index that a network is able to provide. If neutrally these FSPs can be tested around uptime, around capability to handle load, and if these metrics can be published to the wider audience, the fear of redundancy or continuity tomorrow not being there will be taken care of. And therefore, there is not enough need for these BC agents to really get associated with multiple FSPs. So that's my response on the first point. I think there was another sub question in the question that you put in, is around the overcharging by these BC agents. I very strongly feel here that the regulator has a very strong role to play in terms of calling out mass campaigns. So the campaign that they've really introduced around Jagrak Raho for fraud-related transactions on the consumers. A similar campaign needs to be rolled out wherein the consumer needs to be really educated and be made aware of the legitimate charges on the transaction that they really access when they walk into a BC agent. I think once that comes in, the consumer, him or herself, will become very, very aware, and they will start to challenge and question any illegitimate charge which is being imposed by the BC agent. And I think there was one more sub question, is that who is accountable? I think the FSP under whom this BC agent is working is accountable, and is really accountable for reprimanding or taking due action against this BC agent.
Right. Thank you, Samir. With that, Priyanka, I want to ask you, like, extend a very similar question to you. Have you, first of all, what are your views on this? And have you also seen customers facing challenges due to, let's say, you've already sort of mentioned that there is some problems that the customers face due to lack of synergy between multiple stakeholders, such as FSPs and local government bodies. But how do you say that, like your organization is sort of helping the customer overcome these type of challenges?
See, largely, we have seen that overcharging by BCs is like a accepted practice. No one sees a issue in that. Okay, no one even feels that hey, this guy should not be charging me because a bank or a FSP is already giving incentive to this person. So there is no awareness among citizens that this BC is appointed by financial service providers for you. Okay, so our intervention starts from there, creating awareness that this is like a free service that you can avail. But if you talk about maybe filing grievances about the cases which I mentioned earlier, we have seen that mostly people submit, say, verbal grievances to any officer that they come across from the bank or the department with which they have the issues. We have not seen a very solid pattern which can be tracked and which can be, um, uh, improvised to improve the service delivery overall. If that answers your question.
Right. So you're basically saying that even though there are grievance redress channels that are currently present for the customer, but either the customer is not aware of those redressal mechanisms, or even if like the customer tries to navigate, it just becomes very difficult for them to navigate, given multiple, like, first of all, realizing where to go to, and then also amongst the power dynamics, that is like the difference in the power dynamic itself. So yeah, I think
Right.
that completely makes sense. With this, I think I have like a final question for the both of you, given that we don't have a lot of time left, but this is mainly related to grievance redress itself. So Sameer, first of all, um, you know, can you give us, like, let's say some, uh, just talk us through the grievance redress process for like a BC and a customer. So let's say if a BC agent has some grievance, they're facing certain technical challenges or certain other issues due to which they're unable to service the customers properly. How do they raise them? How do they file them? What is the resolution process? And similarly, like if a customer is facing certain issues with the BC, or with accessing or even using certain services that uh, uh, certain banking or credit services, how do they do it? And like, what are the different ways? Even though, like, I feel we've kind of covered certain aspects of the grievance redress mechanism and how can it be improved overall, but if you can still like add a little bit more about how can the entire process be improved, and um, how can it be better for the customer and FSPs alike, so that they can serve the customers as well.
Sure. So let me first talk about the modes and channels available for our adhikaris to reach out to us. There are basically 5 modes. There is a call center support, which is vernacular. So the adhikari can pick up the phone and speak to one of the call center agent and register a requirement or a grievance. Then the second is a WhatsApp bot, wherein the adhikari can again select from the drop down the grievance that he is wanting to get in touch with us. Third is he or she can write a mail through the registered email ID. Fourth is there is a self-care supports. So a lot of these grievances are hosted as a repository, and there are standard responses which go to the adhikari. And the fifth is getting in touch with one of our sales team member on ground or channel partner on ground and seeking support. So these are the modes available, and these modes generally work for adhikari and also the customer, because a lot of these customers really don't know how to contact their acquiring bank, and therefore they reach out to us through these adhikaris. Let me also talk about the kind of grievances that we generally get to see, because we are largely talking about the cash out industry. So one of the very typical problem or grievance that we come across is that the money gets debited from the consumer account, and in the process there was a timeout, and the money could not be disbursed or given to the consumer. What I should also say is that this whole process has evolved in the last 1.5 years, wherein NPCI and banks have really come together in one defining the TAT in which this grievance would be solved for the consumer, and the money gets refunded to the consumer's account. Obviously, in this whole process, our customer care team and the Adhikari plays a very, very important role in terms of escalating the concern, and the customer care team gets in touch with either with NPCI or with the acquiring bank to help the customer. Now, how can this be made better? Look, the cash out industry, give and take, does 40,000 crore every month, right? But if you have to look back and say whether there is a central grievance redressal process in place, the answer is no. But let me also update, NPCI is building one, right? And with that coming in, the dependency of this consumer on the Adhikari really goes away. Or in other ways, it opens one more channel wherein the consumer can lodge his or her complaint or grievance through that central process and get a solution. So I think this is how it's been working. But I must say, all of this in the last at least 1.5 years, one has seen a lot of process change and also improve in responsiveness from all corners.
Right. Thank you, Samir. Priyanka, would you like to quickly comment on the customer's journey of trying to navigate the grievance redress process, and how, according to you, can the grievance redress process be improved?
See, I will rather say we have not explored all the tenets of current grievance redressal techniques. So rather than solving which is not broken, let us implement what was decided, right, as a policy. So we have also worked on a couple of grievance channels along with customers. A is attending Lok Shahi Divas at the SL office, where grievances from across the departments are registered with either a collector or Tehsildar, as the level may be. There are some dedicated portals of state governments, like Maharashtra has a Aple Sarkar portal where you can lodge complaints online for all the departments and then track the status online. And there is also a very strong Banking Ombudsman Act, which we have seen working very fine whenever we lodge any complaint regarding any financial transaction fraud. So, but as I said, mostly we see all these complaints lack documentation, they lack submitting supporting documents, they lack quick prompt actions from the customer side, and they always miss the bus by a gross margin, right? For filing the complaint. So it becomes very difficult for us as well to, trace that down and then help that beneficiary get the benefit. So what I'm saying is maybe creating more awareness, training customers on utilizing the current redressal mechanism is more crucial than giving suggestions about improvising the machinery, because we have not seen how it will work in toto. We are not using it at all.
Right. Thank you so much, Priyanka and Samir. I think both of your suggestions and the thoughts that you have presented today have been really insightful. And I think we have learned quite a bit about not just the fact that, BCs and even assisted modes of delivery of digital financial services are helping the customers, but at the same time, how, there are certain still challenges that kind of remain in this space, and how we can improve upon the grievance redress mechanism and improve upon the delivery of these services as well from the point of view of customer, to protect the customer and sort of build that trust in the system as well. So I think what I really liked about your suggestions is definitely an awareness program needs to be there, specifically on the part of the customer. Given that the customers, though there are multiple challenges, as Samir mentioned, and even Priyanka, you mentioned that though there are multiple channels that are already sort of there, at times like the customer herself is not empowered enough to one know what these channels are, how to navigate through these channels. So definitely awareness amongst that sort of will help. But at the same time, given that we already have and that this sort of also establishes like the exact topic as well, like the need of physical touch points as compared to having like a completely digital system as well. So definitely there's a need for all of these bodies to work in tandem and to come up with like to improve upon the welfare of the customer and just impart just enhance the financial inclusion journey for the customer. So yeah, with that, I think I would like to thank you both for your time and for gracing us with your presence and sharing your thoughts and views on this topic. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Niyati. Pleasure.
Thank you. Nice talking with you today.
Thank you. Bye.